What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Tonight we've got a skid we're gonna build. Let's show you guys what we're thinking. All right, so here's what's going on. We actually have a night tonight where we don't have something we have to get done for customers. On those rare occasions where that happens, we kind of need to capitalize on that. So I usually try to get maintenance done around the shop, grease my equipment, clean my equipment, do that kind of stuff. I was able to do a little bit of that last night after I finished something up. And so tonight, one of the projects that I've had kind of on the back burner that I've wanted to get done was I wanted to build a skid for my Trailblazer. So this skid is going to consist of a base built out of 3x6 rec tube, and then the frame is going to be 3x3 square tube, and then I'll probably sheet the top of it with, I don't know, 3/16 or 1/4 inch plate. And then that is what the welder's going to mount to. I've got a set of cable reels that have been sitting up on my shelf for over a year now. I purchased them because I've been wanting to get this done for a while and I just haven't done it yet. So I'm tired of having to drag my leads out every time I go do a mobile job, and then I've got to coil them up manually, and they're just hard to handle. It sucks to try to stack them and keep them neat. So I'm ready to get the reels put in so that I can utilize that. We also want this skid to be able to hold oxy and acetylene so that I can run a torch, and I also need a slot for like argon if I'm going to TIG weld something. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm also thinking about incorporating some other things in there, but I don't really want to say yet because I'm not sure on how I want to lay it out. So at this point, that's what we're going to start with. This may be a couple different part series. We'll just see how it goes. But tonight, Bridger's out here helping me. We're going to see if we can get the main frame put together. At least then we'll know this is our footprint, this is what we have to work with, and this is what we can fit. Something else that I want to put on there is an extension cord spool or reel. I've been looking at reels, and I think I'd rather put some kind of reel on there. We're going to see what we can do. We're going to start off by splicing these fork pockets. So we've got some drops here on the table. I keep a lot of my drops. If they're not really small, I usually keep them because you can use them for shims or spacers or whatever. Someone might swing by and say, hey, I'm looking for a 12-inch piece of this. Do you have it? And more times than not, I've got it. So we're going to start by splicing these fork pockets. That's not going to hurt anything. They're going to be plenty strong. So we'll go ahead and figure out what length we're going to go with. It's looking like 54 inches is about what I can run out of the back of my truck. I've got a toolbox in the back of the truck, and so I've got to fit the skid behind the toolbox so that I can still close the tailgate, and 54 inches is about perfect, which is about what we'll get out of these two sections here, these fork pockets. We're going to go 54 inches long, and I think we're going to go 48 inches wide. That'll fit between the wheel wells on the truck. So we're going to start working on getting these beveled, tacked, welded up so that we can start building our exterior frame. I've purposely bought a section of 3x3x1/4 square tube when I was at the steel yard the other day because I knew this was something I wanted to get done soon. So I've got that over there. That's what's going to build the skeleton structure around the fork pockets. We'll start with the fork pockets, get those built, cut to length, and then we're just going to build around that. So let's get after it. Got somebody getting into mischief over here. Let's see what's going on. Hey, what are we working on?
A pipe.
What are you doing with it?
Get through the pipe.
Oh, looks like you got a wrench and you stuffed some bolts up in there, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Looks like you got her handled. Let us know if you need a hand. Okay? I'd much rather see him out here getting dirty and getting my tools dirty and heaven forbid lost, but I'd rather see him doing that than inside watching TV. So, all right, so anytime that I am splicing anything, the first thing I like to do is check, see how square it is. That's actually right on the money. This one is a little bit out, but it's still weldable. These ones, I can tell with my eyeball, they're terrible. That side's good. So grab the soapstone. That's the side you want to weld. That side's really good. And that side's really good. This one's both. We'll go with that one. So those are the two sides you want to use. Let's just do our best to grind this one back square. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's a 1/16 out, so we can actually weld that. So don't worry about that. We'll get it when we square it up and clamp it together. So go ahead and start beveling those. So you only need to bevel these two ends and those two ends. Okay?
Those two.
Don't bevel them.
Okay, I thought you said clean up.
No, clean up.
Clean up?
Bevel, bevel, bevel. Okay. Alright, so there's a couple different ways I like to do this. So you can clamp something to it to hold it in place. You can take a piece of angle and clamp it on there. That works great. Sometimes I'll just take a square and I'll start on one side. I'll make sure that they're lined up. So I'm making sure that they're butted up against each other. They're lining up and that they're flush. So now I'm not going to touch them. I'm just going to put a tack right there on that corner that I know is good. Okay, so I get a tack on there. Still good. Check the other way. It's going to shrink a little bit as it cools. Okay, so I get it good, and I know that it's good when it's tied up against this corner. So I'm just going to kind of hold that. I'll get a tack on this corner. I know we're good this way. Now I want to make sure that we're good this way. So I'm going to put the square on here, and I can see that we're out. So it kind of dives off. Well, the good news is I got my tacks on the top here, and so I can just lift up on this. Something else you can do, grab me a wedge, one of those small brass ones. I can slide a wedge under this, and I can just tap it until I get this surface nice and flush. Okay, so I know we're good there, so now I'm going to get my tacks on my other two corners. So with this gap, it's kind of blowing through, so I'll just go ahead and trigger that while I'm tacking it up. So we're good. So that one's ready to be welded. So right now we're just getting these fit. If you don't have one of these, you need one. Usually with tube, they're not going to be perfect. You just want to get it as close as you can. It's going to be good enough for us to get a nice clean surface that we can weld plate to it, and it's going to be flush, tight. You're never going to know it. So we're ready to go ahead and weld these out. So usually when I weld stuff like this out, I like to weld this narrow side first. So I'll weld this, then I'll flip it, and I'll weld the other side. The reason I do that is if you weld this long side first, it's more likely to banana on you, because a lot of the structure from this you're going to get more strength and less warpage if you weld these shorter sides first. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll probably weld this first one, let Bridger watch me, and then I'll have him weld the second one. This is the perfect type of project to have somebody like your kid who's learning, to have them help you. It doesn't go to a customer, it's yours. If it doesn't look perfect, it's going to be fine. So this will be good for Bridger to get some hood time. See how I'm pausing and letting it fill up? I want it to be just past flush. Because for this, we're probably going to grind just a hair off. This isn't the important surface. This top surface we want perfectly flat. So we can actually leave the sides. The bottom we want close, but the top is the crucial one. Okay, so I'll weld that one, then I'll roll it. And then we'll weld this one. See how I let it fill up before I start moving? You almost kind of want it to pile up. See this one here, you can see the tubes are two different pieces of tube. And the tube's not perfect. So if you put this on here, you can see it's out a little bit. Yeah. That's fine, because this is going to be the bottom. This other side's the top. And as long as that's flush, we're good. This isn't going to hurt a thing. See, and then I'll push it all the way to the corner. So that I'm sure I'm getting both directions and I'm getting a good tie-in on the corners. Both sides, see that? Pause and let it fill up and then start moving. Build up your puddle before you start moving. Goodness. My hood lens is getting filthy. It's terrible. I'll bet Ray Charles could weld better than me right now. We'll let you do that one now. Slide that one over here. Ooh, that's a tough one.
You just trigger that, right?
That's what I would do. So when you trigger it, tip.
So should I make one pass that's triggering it
and then a cap over the top of it. But when you trigger it, where your tack is here,
you want to go into your
tip
tack?
the gun into the tack. Let it cool. Hit it, let it cool. See how I'm fighting it? You just kind of have to keep babying it. And as the gap closes up, it'll get easier. Just real quick. Just keep doing, just keep triggering it, keep doing what I was doing. Hey, slow it down. Now let it cool. Okay, go. There, you got it. See how that one got away from you?
Yeah.
Focus your heat where the mass is. Okay. Yep, right there. See how that one went better? Okay, hold on. Okay, so you're there. So now we'll just hit this. Hey. Okay. So that knocked the slag off. So now run one across there, just a solid one. Let it pile up.
pretty fat.
It is fat. You mean like PHAT or? Okay, you'll be able to run this one. Now this one, I want you to stand right here and I want you to push it away from you. Start on the corner.
Right here?
Yep. Okay. As soon as you hear that,
See it spitting?
where it's you're blowing it out right there on the corner, just
Let it go.
yeah, just be done. Okay. That one actually looks really good though. That's perfect. You don't need any heavier than that. It's past flush. That one looks great. This one is gonna suck
Yeah, it is. You're gonna have to make it fast.
because you got gap there. This one you can run solid, so go ahead and run that one. What's going on there? Did you get a hot one? Or is it burning the back of your hand? The other thing you want to do, and this goes with short arc or dual shield. If there's that little ball on the end, it's gonna suck to restart. That's why you see me re-break it after every time. Just snap it off. This gives you a nice crisp start. Okay, now make sure you restart. This is a good practice for restarts too.
You're gonna start on it.
Make sure your restart is nice and consistent. Not too big, but not too small. Usually what I'll do is I'll get it started and then I'll actually pull back just for a flash second and then I'll move forward. So start it, come back to here, and then keep going. That's not bad, but you probably could have brought it back to here. All right, what's up guys? Let's show you guys where we're at on this. So I've got all the parts cut and beveled. They're laid out on the table. I haven't tacked anything up yet. I'll show you guys kind of what I got going here and what my plan is. All right, so you can see I've used my 3-inch tube. At first I was thinking about mitering these corners, but then I thought, well, that's a lot more work, and this actually works well because if you ever wanted to lift this with like a 4-hook bridle, you could put the hooks in here and lift from all 4 corners. So I kind of like that. Fork pockets are 28 inches center to center, and then I've got these spacers here. So anywhere where I had a flush joint, you can see I went ahead and beveled those. It just gives you a stronger weld, and it's easier to weld because there's somewhere for the weld to go. It doesn't pile up on you. It's got a nice little trough to fill up in. Okay, so that's our footprint. So now what I'm going to do, you can see I've got that piece clamped to the table. So I'm going to square off that, and I'm just going to start working my way down the corners or down the edges and making sure everything's square and flat. And I'll just tack it as I go. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Oh, look who's out in the shop today. Gray had to get his Freedom Fab garb on so he could come out here and work, huh? You've been working a lot out here lately, haven't you? You having fun? Good. Show me what you're working on. Tell me what you're doing. Oh, you fixing the iron worker? What's wrong with it? Is it broken?
Yeah.
Oh, and what's this thing right here? What's this thing?
A computer.
Your computer? Oh, and what have you been doing over here with this?
Shaving.
Oh, you've been shaving that down, huh?
Yep.
Oh, what's the rule? What's the rule?
Glass. glasses.
Okay, get them on. Always got to have your glasses on when you're grinding, huh? Oh, that's good. Cool. Doing a good job. I like it.
Yeah, Peter.
I think it's always a good thing when you're able to let them use a tool like that they can't really hurt themselves with, but they can still kind of learn how to use their hands and how to be safe. So I'm sure I might take flack for letting my kid use a power tool, but it's a relatively safe power tool, and I think it's good for him. And I'd rather him be doing this than watching TV or being on a cell phone or a tablet or something like that. So I enjoy having my kids out here with me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start getting this all tacked up. Once we get this all tacked up, we'll be ready to burn our piece of plate that's going to go over the top of it. That's going to be the next step. But let's start off by trying to get this all fit up and tacked up. Whew. What thing out? All right, so we got this all tacked up and we're going to start welding this out. You don't typically want to weld all these flats like this because it's more likely to warp this way than it is, you know, like this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand it up and we're going to start welding all these inside corners, butt joints on the inside, and we'll save the flats for last. So we'll get these all welded out. That's going to hold it and help keep it from bananaing. Bananaing, that's a good word. That'll help keep it from warping. We don't want to turn this sucker into a rocking chair, so we'll go ahead and stand it up. So that'll keep it right there. And then we'll be able to run some of these inside welds, and then we'll just keep rolling it, manipulating it until we have all these other welds, the verticals basically, welded out. Then we'll be able to lay it flat and start hitting some of these flats. We'll get a little bit of video of this, and then once we get this baby all welded out, we'll come back to you and give you a look. We are running dual shield today. I like to run dual shield for all my structural welding. Anything heavy, I like dual shield. Burns hot, good penetration. You can lay it down nice and heavy. This is 045 wire, and we're using 100% CO2 for the gas. The other thing I'm going to do is try to bounce around, even out the heat. So I'll weld one over there, then I'll come over here and weld one. Go ahead and lower this down. I like to use these steel chokers when things start getting hot. I always like to position things if I can. So if I can position it to where I can run my welds flat, I will. Lucky for me, I have a crane where I'm able to do that. If you're not able to do that, obviously you're going to have to weld it out of position, but you might as well make your welds look as pretty as possible, and it's just easier. So I try to do that if I can. And in this situation, we can. So we're going to do it. All right, so we'll roll it. We'll do the same thing. And then we'll lay it flat. We'll start hitting these flat welds. So just a lot of welding here. Once we get it all welded out, we'll come back to you. All right, guys, quick update on the skid. Here we go. She's all welded out. I did get my reels out of the box, so I'll give you guys a look at those real quick. Okay, so I purchased these diamond lead reels over a year ago. They've been sitting in the box, just waiting for me to be able to get this done. So I haven't figured out exactly how I want to do the reels. I know they're going to mount right here in front of the welder. Welder's going to sit right here. I'll kind of give you a better look on the drafting software on the burn table because I've just got it welded out. So let's walk over there and take a look. All right, so plates on the table. We are going to use 1/4 inch plate. You can see here I've got my plate drafted, and I actually do have my holes for mounting the welder. I'm going to burn those into the plate, and I should be able to just drop the welder onto that, throw some bolts in it, and then that piece is mounted. I laid out where the welder's going to sit. So this is the front of the welder. That's the back of the welder. And I've got close to 14 inches here on the front that I'll have room, and I think that's where I'm going to put my reels. And I'm going to try to come up with some sort of a system to where I can slide this out, slide the reel set out, and then I'll be able to pivot it either direction so that if I'm welding on the right side of the truck or the left side of the truck, I'll have options on getting my reels and my leads rolled out with ease. So this rectangle right here, I just kind of laid out rough measurements on a double stack bottle holder for oxygen and argon, and then I've got an acetylene, a vertical acetylene holder right here. So I still have some room right here to play with. I've got a few ideas on some things, but I don't have anything set yet. So that's just kind of what I'm thinking. We're doing this on the fly, so I'm going to go ahead and burn this plate now. We'll be able to get it over there and start tacking it up, fitting it. Once that's in place, we can really start doing the fun stuff, which is figuring out how we want to set everything up. So let's go ahead and burn this. All right, real final. All right, guys, we got our plate here. Let's see if we can put this in place. Gonna do that by hand now. So when I put a deck plate or a top plate like this on something, I usually like to hold it back about 1/4 inch, maybe 5/16 from the outside edge, so that I have a nice place to leave some stitch welds around the outside. So I'm going to just work my way around this, get it all centered up where I like it. All of our holes look good. They missed all of our cross members, so that worked out. I've double checked my measurements on my welder, and it should drop in right here and be able to drop bolts on and bolt that down. So we'll try to get this all centered up, and then we'll start laying out where we want our stitches on this. The other thing I'll do is I'll make sure to push down on this plate. There might be just a little bit of a gap because I'm sure the surface isn't perfect, but if you push down, like if I push down on this corner, I can get it just about perfect. If you want to clamp it down with a clamp, go ahead. All right, so now we're just going to do our usual stitch layout. Take a tape measure, and then I'll go ahead. For this, we're probably going to do, we'll go 3-inch stitches. So usually what I'll do is I'll start on either side, and I'll do a 3-inch stitch on my ends. Then I find center. All right, so I mark my 3-inch stitch in the center, and then I usually, depending on how big this gap is, like for this one, where they're 3-inch stitches, I'm just gonna measure that distance. So we're looking about 19 inches. So we're 9.5 for center. We'll mark our 3 there. And then you can check your gap, 8 inches, 8 inches. Okay, so then do the same thing here. But that gives you equal spaces between all your stitches. It looks nice. It's going to be plenty strong. I mean, if you really think about it, all we've got to do is just make sure this plate doesn't move. When we lift it out of the truck, we're not lifting from the top plate, we're lifting from the structure underneath. So the stitch plate is just to kind of hold everything on the structure. Okay, so I'm going to go around, do this whole thing, get all the stitches laid out. After I do that, we'll come back, we'll get these welded out, and then we'll go from there. All right, we got our stitches all on there. So we're gonna go ahead and hit this with a flap disc, clean up some of these edges, knock all the slag off, and then we'll be ready to start setting stuff on here, figuring out how we wanna mount it, start fabricating our bottle racks. So there's still a lot of work to do. So we'll get this cleaned up and we'll go from there. All right, we're gonna get the welder set in place here. See how she fits. Well, the good news is the holes line up, so I should be able to get bolts in there. So that's where that baby's gonna live. There's probably about 3/4 of an inch clearance, so that if I was to push this up against something, my toolbox or whatever, it's not gonna hit it. I mean, I'll still have some room in the bed where I can just put it just past the tailgate, and I'll have plenty of clearance for air circulation, stuff like that. But I think that's gonna work for mounting the welder. So now that that's in place, we can start figuring out how we want to lay out our bottle racks. I think it's going to work out just right to where I can have a double stack rack here and acetylene upright here. Then we'll figure out the rest from there, but I'll give you guys a look from the other angle here. So I think that's going to work out pretty slick. This will fit right here just right. I believe it pivots, so I kind of like that. So I think that's probably where that's going to live. Okay, so our lead rails will go right there. That'll also give us the shortest amount of pigtail coming off the welder to get to here, which will be nice. I still got plenty of room to go ahead and reel these up. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. I like how that is going to be. My double stack bottles, they're going to be closer to the welder. I thought about maybe putting them on this side, but I think it's makes more sense to put them closer to the welder and have the acetylene in that back corner. And then I have a little bit of room here that I can mount. I'd like to mount a reel for an extension cord, and that'll probably go somewhere right there. So once I get the bottle rack built, so the next order of business is probably going to be, I can bolt the welder down, I could drill and bolt this down, and then I think the next order of business is going to be starting to fabricate my double stack bottle holder. So I'm going to brainstorm on that, probably draft up some stuff, see what I like. When I have something to show you, we'll come back to you. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Goodness. I'm tired of every time I need to go do a mobile job. I'm tired. Goodness.